All right, we're live. It is Monday at 9:30 p.m. on the East Coast. It's 6:30 p.m. on the West Coast. It's time for your weekly Calamity Jane live stream. Good evening, everybody. James, how are you doing?
I am doing great. Happy Monday to
Happy
you,
Monday
you
indeed.
all.
Yes. Yes. So this week we're jumping right into it this week. I think we're gonna keep exploring some of your 3D work, and then maybe a little bit more exploration on Mitchell's house. Am I remember correctly?
Yeah, we'll see where we can get to with Mitchell's house. I haven't done anything in 3D yet, but maybe I'll start experimenting with it and fall on my face a few times
Uh huh.
in the world of 3D. And yeah, cut my teeth on it. I guess is what the expression is.
Okay. Oh,
Run through with that. I will get into share screen mode here.
there you go. I should have just allowed you to do it. I had forgotten to do that before we started streaming. So,
Whatever.
all right.
All right, so we're good, and yeah, here we go. I am going to let's talk about this little building first.
Uh huh.
This is intended to be the sheriff's office.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of going through. I need to still put a label up here. I need to actually add some sort of a signage of some sort. But yeah, this is intended to be where all the crooks are locked up of our non-exempt our
Yeah.
previous sheriff that may or may not live in Dry Gulp Gorge.
Yeah, I can't imagine that office actually gets a lot of. I mean, I'm almost imagining like a joke if for whatever reason we ever go in there that they have just like holiday decorations in the jail cells. So it's like where Dry Gulp Gorge keeps the town Christmas tree and the Halloween decorations. Like no one has ever gets put in jail in in Dry Gulp Gorge.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think it is worth kind of talking about. Where do villains of Calamity Jane go to after she defeats them, and or do they just disappear into the distance and you hear from them later through a revenge rant of some sort? Or
I mean, uh, I think that half the time they'll just they'll make an escape in a cloud of smoke bomb or something. But
yeah,
I mean I think it would be funny if at some point one of her she actually captures someone and takes them to the jail, and like they have to like kind of squeeze them in, right, because there's a Christmas tree in there and there's a bunch of like styrofoam jack-o'-lanterns in there and whatnot.
yeah,
That would be, and the last scene is them like behind the jail cell standing in front of um holiday decorations. I mean, that would be a funny image. So
so you're kind of giving the impression that the sheriff's office is a big giant supply closet.
basically, yeah. I mean, they've never like Dry Gulp Gorge has never really had a hero up until the point where Calamity shows up. And that's in the pilot at least. It's why they asked her to stay, um, because she actually, if she weren't there, the Dry Gulp Gorge probably would have gotten. Well, if she weren't there, that I don't know that the Warhogs would have ever showed up in the first place. But the citizens of Dry Gulp Gorge don't know this,
Yeah,
and so the notion that she's a hero is the idea of having a hero around is a pretty new concept for for the citizens of Dry Gulp Gorge.
for the town. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, indeed. So speaking of the town, Dry Gulp Gorge, let's go to the other thing I modeled today,
Okay.
which is the post office.
Okay.
So again, kind of the same deal. There's not much. It's meant to just kind of be a prop that you see in the background. I don't know how often we're going to see a lot of action happening at the post office.
I mean, I feel like you need a post office because every good Western town has a Pony Express location or a post office or something along those lines.
hmm
So, I mean, that's good at least. And better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at with. Yeah. You need to have a post office, period, to kind of do the lifeblood stuff of town and sending letters and all that stuff. True. But this also brings up another question. As I was building the town out, we need to think about do we need to actually have power lines, and stuff like that? Because we do use. Let me go back to Dry Gulp itself, and
Yeah,
oh,
save because you changed the post material in one of the posts.
yeah. Um, so yeah, so again with our gray box town here, well now it's a
Mm-hmm.
little more rendered out, but we need to have I think we need to have some sort of electricity type of representation, I would think, right? Because first of all, we know we Mitchell kind of uses it as a gag, right? In one of the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Not to get
Yeah,
too
he
much
flips
into
the
it.
switch and yeah. I leave it up to you in terms of the design. I wasn't worrying about it. I mean, we can
Mhm.
just as easily say that all of the power infrastructure is buried underground.
Yeah, yeah, we could do that. I mean,
But visually, it would look kind of cool to have power lines. But does it fit thematically with the kind of themes of the town, right? And I trust your judgment on that.
yeah, I'll have to play with it because I don't want it to get too busy, but at the same time,
Right.
it's we do reference it a little bit in episode one, sorta in a way, but
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah,
So I mean, if it looks good, it's certainly not going to be. What? I'm sorry. Words are failing me. Yeah. If it looks good, it looks good, and use it.
yeah. Um, so yeah, so since last week, I don't know if you saw. I mean, I did some change to the houses just to kind of make some like kind of higher and shorter and stuff like that. Kind of play with the
Mm-hmm.
feel of town a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and this will keep evolving as we go.
Mm-hmm.
But that is also happening. Um, but yeah, it's coming along. But let's go with Mitchell's house. I'm gonna use my house generic house,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe we'll start kind of playing. I'm gonna start trying to play with this a little bit,
All right.
and try to build out a house from this. Sorta. I mean, we'll see how it goes. But yeah,
Oh,
I'll
so
start.
you're gonna work on modeling the house in 3D then?
Yeah,
All
I'm thinking
right.
so. I think I might attempt it tonight. That's my thought.
All right.
We'll see. Um,
So, are these all primitives that you're using right now for the shapes?
yeah, I'd start out with primitives, then I drew extra geometry on them to kind of detail them out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I always start out with like a basic box, and actually, I might just do that and
Just
start completely new just for fun. Let's just
okay.
do that.
Sounds good to me.
So here we are. We've got the
It
classic
gives you a
render.
cube. Opens with a cube.
Yes. So first thing let's talk about is how big is Mitchell's house? Is it pretty tall?
Well, I think it's 1.5 stories. Um, 1.5 meaning that it's got a main floor and then an attic that's big enough that you can have a desk up there. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not got like high ceilings or anything like that, but you can fit in there and work up there if you need to.
All right. So let me start playing around here. Actually, I might use my mouse. I'm going into mouse mode now. I have my pen I use, but
Mm-hmm.
I will go into mouse mode. I will. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to build out the porch a little bit. Street that out. We'll go about roughly there. I'll make stairs later, but let me just go with that for now.
Okay. Are you sort of just eyeballing um, it, or is there a size guide that you're using?
I'm eyeballing it right now. I can always scale stuff back up and down. My metric is actually the doors.
Uh huh.
As long as the doors kind of match up,
Uh huh.
and then I'm good with the rest of it.
So will you like import your door primitive that you've already created then?
Yeah, I will import that in, um, and this will give me a way of kind of using my scale. Let me see here if I can import something. Let's see here. We need to do. Where is it? Where is my linking for this? Data previews, refresh, blah, blah, blah. Where do I actually add? Someplace. Now I gotta
No,
actually look
no, it's fine.
there.
Um, so
Anyway,
I know that we didn't. Well, I guess you were doing the actual work. I was just jawing on about finishing the 2D of Mitchell's house. But do you have a pretty good idea of what you're going for?
yeah. If we were to go back to the 2D, let me go back to. Let's see here. That's kind of. I mean, I get. I have a 3D idea of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
So I'd say
yeah.
I had forgotten that you had added sort of that second larger um, roof. Yeah, it's probably closer to like, it's not it's strictly 2 stories, but that attic's probably pretty spacious. Spacious.
Mhm. Yeah, it's almost like I feel like this whole structure needs to be a little bit wider too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. Because keep in mind, it needs to fit both a swinging bench and a rocket chair, and space for Calamity to stand between the two. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So if we did that, let me just select. Sure, I have all of it. Yep. And we kind of go out a little bit. That should be enough room for the chair and the bench. And
Mm-hmm.
again, I'm not trying to be precise just yet. I want to block it in 3 dimensionally and just look at
Mm-hmm.
it.
Sure. Sure. Um. So. Oh no, never mind. I answered my own question as I was about to ask it.
Well,
uh,
what was that wrong?
oh, I just why the origin is in the center of the object instead of the base of the object, and it's like, well, that's
Oh,
just
that's
because that's
by
where the default where the cube was.
yes, exactly. It's just default. Yeah. It kind of gets annoying sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but it's easy to fix, which I can do in a second anyway. But
And yeah, make that, yeah, there you go, and you'll have to like create sort of the overhang too, right, from the
yeah,
but yeah. Um, I'm just thinking on like the post office, like what you would what would be like a good opportunity for the post office? Do you think like the post office could also like maybe it's not strictly a post office because it's such a small town. Maybe it could also serve as like a general store as well. Like buy your unguents and mail a letter all from the same building.
we do. We don't actually have a general store, do we?
No, we don't. That's why I was sort of thinking about it. And I know this is a little bit of a tease for the second episode. Um, there is a brief moment where Calamity walks out of a store. Um, or not Calamity rather, but a different character walks out of a store, and it starts the conflict of the whole episode. Um,
Are you referring to a villain?
yeah, I'm referring to a villain.
Okay, yeah, I recall. I think we're on the same page as to who the villain is because there's the first thing I thought about at the post office is I know which villain is associated with it,
Hmm.
but I didn't know. I don't know where officially if we say anything or not.
Well, the script calls for a general store, right?
Yeah.
And I guess that's sort of why I'm thinking about the post office, because it's in the right part of town, and and I don't know, and I'm being lazy maybe, I'm trying to double up on the purpose of a single building. So, who knows? But yeah, just thinking aloud, like trying to future proof it again, right? And we talked about this last week. We can always add buildings as we need them, which is nice. But if we can have a sense of the town ahead of time, that's also good. So.
Yeah, it makes you wonder like like there are some shows where they flesh out so much of the world um, in pre-production.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's other shows where I think they just kind of fly by the seat of their pants and they just kind of build it as the seasons go on,
Like
or if the writers want to,
yeah, like
you know.
Lost.
Yeah, like Lost. Yeah, it's just a
I
really
mean, it's just like I remember in the early days, and it's pretty standard. J.J. Abrams, he like creates these as he calls them mystery boxes, and then he
yeah.
like abandons his stuff, and then Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse took over. And in the early days, you were always saying, "Oh yeah, we know exactly where we want the show to go. We know everything. Everything is pre-planned." And then it becomes very, very apparent, very, very quickly that they have no fucking clue what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. And it's frustrating as a viewer because you kind of lose faith in what's being told as a story. Like you don't you get yeah you just kind of become you kind of throw your hands up in the air because then all bets are off. Nothing like what's the point of investing in the show if they're flying by the seat of their pants like week to week. Um,
Mm-hmm. I mean, I still thought it was a fun show, but it was, it I think it got a little bit off the rails towards the end. I mean, the one thing I did appreciate is very early on they said there were only going to be 6 seasons, and they stuck to that.
mhm.
So I appreciate that they didn't try to milk it for more than they needed to. And when it ended, I was like, yeah, I'm ready for the show to come to an end. Like I feel like
Mhm.
the mystery is ready to be solved, kind of thing.
And were you one of the fans who was actually happy with the ending, or?
I was neutral. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. As far as endings of TV shows are concerned, it was not the worst. It wasn't my favorite last episode of a TV show ever. So it was middle of the road. I know some people have very very strong feelings about how it
Yeah,
ended.
I mean, it invoked a lot of anger. I
Yeah.
remember
I
back when.
just didn't. I just don't, I guess, have the energy to be that angry at it. I thought it was fine. Yeah, and that's about as far as I got.
I'm just happy, just based on what people were saying about it. I'm happy that I was happy I didn't invest too much time into it. I
Mm.
watched the first few episodes of it, and I felt like it just felt gimmicky to me.
Mm-hmm.
So
It was super high concept.
yeah, so I just didn't want to spend too much time investing in it because of that. But whatever. I mean, it's still it's still made its mark. I mean, a lot of people still talk about it as a show, and
Yeah, I mean, I the first 2 seasons are still great television. I mean, and it was still fun. I mean, it was always a fun ride all the way through, in my
mhm,
opinion. Even in its sort of when it got a little bit muddied, I still enjoyed the spectacle of it.
mhm.
I think that there were some odd choices, but in general, it was. I thought it was a strong show. I thought the other show that he created and abandoned not long after that, Fringe.
Hmm.
I actually liked Fringe more, and I liked the ending more of Fringe as well.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Fringe. Again, I thought they sort of uh, kind of got muddy in the middle seasons, but by the end, I was still relatively happy with how they ended things.
I thought it was really ballsy of him to take that really hard left turn in the last season, and they previewed it in a single episode in the previous season. Um, so yeah, I mean, I was really, it was like, wow, that they really took a risk, and I really appreciated that.
Hmm. Hmm.
So what are you doing right now?
I'm trying to, and again, I don't have the same ability in 3D yet, but I'm trying to build. Let me draw it here again as a detail. I'm building the house
Mm-hmm.
here. This is again the 3D dimensional view of it. I'm just redrawing it again, but it's almost like a double triangle.
Mm-hmm.
So that way the room is here, um, but the main house is here. So
Mm-hmm.
then the clock lives here. Now I
Mm-hmm.
could just do this, and actually I might just do this in 3D too, just for fun. But if we were to, if I was to, okay, I'm gonna throw this out. I'm already not happy with it anyway. So
Okay.
okay, so if I was to, let me just put a plane down first, and then we'll add another box. So imagine this. Imagine that's the house. That's the house roof right here.
Right.
So I'm just using this. Okay, so if I was to duplicate that, oops, hang on. And that's on the x-axis and the y-axis. On the x, and I scale it down. It would kind of look like. It would kind of look like that. Now this is
Mm-hmm.
awful, but it looked kind of like this
Mm-hmm.
from a 3/4 view. So Mitchell's clock will be here, and then the
Mm-hmm.
main house is here, and the
Mm-hmm.
porch is underneath this.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, is it intended to be asymmetrical like that?
It's going to be symmetrical.
Oh, it will be symmetrical. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
don't. Yeah. Again, this is a really ugly sketch, but imagine this lines up with that.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
That makes
it's all going
sense.
to be symmetrical, perfectly aligned, and then below that will be below here. I'm using this plane to kind of hide it, so that way we can just look at the roof.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Um,
I totally understand.
Yeah, but then we extend the porch out from the main house, and it'll
Mm-hmm.
be underneath this mini roof.
Mm-hmm.
And then here's where the bench will be, and here's where the rocking chair will be, and then Calamity jumps out of there.
Got it.
That's my thought.
Cool.
So, um, any thoughts on your end as I play architect?
No, I mean I think that that looks pretty good in terms of what the sketch is, and I think that that goes pretty well with what the intention, what the scene needs, right? So yeah, no comments for me. Um, yeah.
This is actually this ugly looking set of 3D shapes is actually closer than what I was spending the last 20 minutes on trying to build. So here we go. So
Just make it
yay,
fast.
success? No,
Yeah.
not really. I need to just get a little bit better with the 3D stuff, but I'll get there eventually. I mean, I just keep bludgeoning my head, and trying to get the commands right. I'll
Yeah.
eventually get there.
Oh,
But yeah, that's the idea.
cool. Very cool.
I know you wanted to talk more about Mitchell's house as well. Did you have any other thoughts on it?
Well, I'm just curious. Is it is it you, what's the word I'm looking for? Does it have a lot of surrounding structures, or is it relatively in your
Oh yeah,
mind?
great question. I was thinking in my head like there are going to be so most of town actually has uh, somewhat of a kind of a neighborhood kind of a vibe around it, but for Mitchell, his house is gonna be feel kind of a little bit more isolated, like he
Hmm.
has a little bit more real estate around him.
Okay, so do
You will
you?
see some hints of houses like here and there,
Hmm.
but it's almost like he's kind of got a big giant lot just for his house.
Would you imagine that he does anything with it, or would it be overgrown with weeds and stuff? Because again, this isn't a place that he is really maintaining for the sake of like his real passion is the prickly pear,
Yeah.
and he's sort of taken over this house as a place to live. Would you imagine that he has like just an overgrown yard because of lack of care?
Well, I think that's that's the right track of thinking, but I'm trying to think production wise. I don't want to spend a lot of time thinking about weeds and
Mm-hmm.
and shrubbery.
Mm-hmm.
There's part of the reason why.
I mean, it is a desert, so I don't imagine it being
Yeah,
like too like there being too much foliage or anything like that.
but there could be artifacts in the yard,
Right. Right.
like
Yeah.
broken flamingos or something. Something
I
really
like
that's
the idea of broken
special.
flamingo. Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
great. Yeah.
that type of stuff, or even like a carnival ride that's broken and it's sitting in front. It could be that.
Right, right. Like a bumper car. Like how? Why is there a broken bumper car in his yard?
Yeah. See, that to me feels more Mitchell
Yeah.
versus if I was to draw a bunch of weeds and stuff, then I'd have to try to. I feel like I'd have to explain. Well, there's other houses that are unkept too. They have to have weeds,
Right.
kind of a thing. But
Right.
I think what you're getting at though, I think makes a lot of sense. How he neglects his house, but what would be a Mitchell version of what's the iconic imagery of Mitchell neglect? And I think it would be
I think you're right. Like a broken bumper car, one of those like coin operated rides. You know that
yeah,
like
there'd
the
be like a
rocket
rubber
ship
duck
that you
out
ride
there.
on. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be a ride. It's
Yeah.
open, you know. It's yeah, and then again a flamingo on the
Yeah.
ground.
So like one or two props.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense.
A tire's kind of cliche, but maybe I don't know what kind of tire it could be. I don't know. Maybe
Maybe
it
it's
could
painted pink or something.
be.
And it's next to the broken pink flamingo, which is actually
Yeah.
like tire colored. I don't know. That's I. Ugh. Um.
But I mean, would it? Do you want him to look like he has like a scavenger junkyard kind of a feel to
I
his stuff?
wasn't. No, I wasn't imagining anything like some sort of relic garden or anything like that. Just just because it's a little bit out in the open. It's just an opportunity to play a little bit with um, uh, um, just some props to give it a little bit of a custom look, a custom feel. That's all.
Yeah. No, that's it's a yeah. I didn't even think about that. I'm glad you brought that up tonight, though. But it's definitely valid. We need to have something there to kind of add to show history there for Mitchell.
Hmm.
So that's good. But yeah, we'll definitely have to think about that too. Um, yeah, cool.
Cool. Well, I mean, we've been going for almost 30 minutes now, so I think this is a pretty good stopping point for us this week.
Hmm.
So I will just wrap it up, I guess, unless you have anything else that you had on your mind.
No, I think we're good spot. We're in a good spot. The only thing I'm going to be doing now is pushing a bunch of polygons around, and
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
sounds good. All right,
yeah.
well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We will be back here as always next week at the same bat time, same bat channel. You can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/Calamity Jane. Same with Facebook. Just search bar Calamity Jane. It's the easiest. And all of the social medias is basically the same. And otherwise, have a good night. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. And